That was the subscribe button.
That
was the subscribe button that he just hit, right? Subscribe, people. We are back for our 2025 high school review and all-state release.
For the girls teams, yep.
Right, for the girls teams. This time we did the boys. Now we're back, Jeremy. I am Chad Vidrine. This is Jeremy Poklemba. If you don't know, we just went away for a 5-minute break. But we are back. This is probably a different clip. It's going to be a whole different video you're watching.
Episode 2.
But it was recorded within 5 minutes of each other. If you don't believe me, ask Jeremy.
I actually don't believe it was at least 10 minutes, so I don't know why we're lying for the 5 minutes. I don't know if we get bonus points.
And this is Rocco. He's famous around these parts. Rocco the raccoon and his brother Dick Sturgis.
I thought there was one for each of us.
Yeah, you're Dick Sturgis. I'm Rocco.
It's interesting names. I think they are raccoons. We thought it was very important to point out that the raccoons actually run this show, not us.
They do actually run the show.
This is a really bad intro.
You know, Jeremy, speaking of running shows, the girls' game has been going on, and we've got quite a bunch of, I guess, dynasties on the girls' side. Currently undergoing destinies. So we have Newman quite on a little run lately. We have St. Thomas More, who has been on like a 7 or 8 year streak.
They were going for 8 this year.
Right, they were going for 8. You have St. Scholastica coming down from Division 1 to Division 2, where they rightfully belong, right, attendance-wise, to challenge the 7-year streak, going for 8. What else did we have?
Maybe the girls' all-state teams.
We can get to that finally, right? That's what people are here for, not to listen to two old men yell and scream at each other and the clouds. So let's go back to what we were doing, Jeremy, and that is the quarterfinals of the Division 4 girls bracket. After a long season and, pretty much, in Division 4, what were we looking at? Loyola Prep was the number 1 seed.
Loyola Prep number 1 facing off against North Lake Christian in the first quarterfinal match hosted up in beautiful Shreveport area. Loyola Prep was able to sneak that one out 2-1. And the other side of the bracket, or I guess the same side of the bracket, the other quarterfinal was Calvary Baptist and St. Charles, 5 versus 4. Calvary Baptist advanced to the semifinal, both on the boys and now on the girls' side. Impressive for that school up from Shreveport. Other side of the bracket, we have number 3 Episcopal facing off against St. Thomas Aquinas, 5-1. Episcopal comes out victorious. In the last quarterfinal, we had Newman, the Greenies, facing off against Catholic New Iberia in a 5-0 trouncing by Newman. So we had Newman Episcopal semifinal, and the other semifinal, we have Loyola Prep and Calvary Baptist. Take us through those score lines and get us to a final.
Yeah, our semifinal number 1 with Loyola Prep. Loyola pulls it off against Calvary Baptist, some Northwest Louisiana rivalry right there. 1-0 the final score over Calvary Baptist, who had a tremendous year this year. On the other side of the bracket, we had number 2, the Greenies of Isidore Newman and Coach Doug Freeze. They pulled off the 2-1 upset and it's not an upset, it's a 2-1 victory over last year's runner-ups and a rematch of the year before state championship game, Episcopal Baton Rouge. 2-1 was that final score. Leads to the finals, Jeremy. Isidore Newman, the Greenies, the number 2 seed. They are going against the Loyola Prep. What is their mascot? The Flyers, the Snoopies, right? Loyola Prep. Take us away, the final score of that final, right?
Final score 7-0 Isidore Newman over Loyola Prep. Obviously not the best performance from Loyola Prep, but again, score lines oftentimes, as you get late in the game, a coach in the state final isn't trying to lose 2-0. They're trying to come back, and so the game opens up towards the end. I think if you watch that game, you know that Loyola kind of went for it, and then after a while made sure everybody got in to play that game. Nothing to take away from the victory for Newman, who's a quality side. Another state championship for them, but I think they could have kept the score low, but they tried to come and make it a game. Loyola there, so it got out of hand at the end. But again, great season for Loyola Prep and Mark Matlock. But this year, Newman under Doug Freeze comes away victorious against 7-0. I don't remember a state final that was quite like that.
Yeah, there was a time we were wondering if we could have got a mercy rule right there, because it went from a really close game. It was 1-0 at half, right?
I think so.
Right, and then it is kind of like they said, the floodgates open. Credit to Coach Matlock, myself included. I go for it. I don't. Sure. You have to. It's a state championship game. Who cares if I lose 7-0 or 1-0? I'm going for it to try to get back in it. He did what he had to do. 7-0 was the final score. Coach Doug Freeze. He talked about it at the end. Some of these girls that got goals at the end, there were some of these younger players, so we'll talk about that as we go on to our all-state now, Jeremy. We have our Division 4 girls all-state team. That's what people are here for, not to listen to us. So let's take it away with the second team.
Yes, sir. Second team, Division 4 All-State for the 2025 girls. We have sophomore Alexis Anderson from Northlake Christian. Up next, Pope John Paul Jr., Sheelan Biniam. Not number. I want to say number because the number's right there. I'm bad about this. Junior from St. Thomas Aquinas, Bronwyn Doan. Covenant Christian Jr., Mallory Dupree. Aubrey Gare is sophomore from Episcopal Baton Rouge. A junior, Allie Hammock from Providence Classical. I think it's a first-year school or second-year school up north. Next up, we have junior from St. Thomas Aquinas, Sophie LaCroix. Senior from Isidore Newman, Catherine LePere. Junior, Loyola Prep player, Peyton Lewis. We have Isidore Newman Jr., Brooke Montano. Pope John Paul Jr., Sophia Antamara. Isidore Newman Sr., Sarah Gibbs Smallpage. And 8th grader, Louise Stewart from Metairie Park Country Day. Junior, Maddie Teague from Episcopal Baton Rouge. Senior, Grace Wayford from Loyola Prep. And freshman, Lily Welch from Metairie Park Country Day rounds out our Division 4 second team All-State. Who made first team this year, Chad?
First team, Jeremy, is led off by junior from Isidore Newman, Lily Armand.
I'll go Arjmand.
Arjmand, sorry. That J just snuck up on me right there when I looked at it. Yeah, it does. Sophomore, Sydney Bonacaz from Episcopal Baton Rouge. Junior, Lauren Bradford from Episcopal Baton Rouge. Senior, Claire Chapanche from Isidore Newman. Junior, Sarah Cordova from Isidore Newman. Senior, Rory Decker from Grace Christian. That's from your whole area out there in Central Louisiana.
Alexandria.
That's right, from Grace Christian with a player on the board here at first team. Sydney Gallagher, Isidore Newman, a senior. Gianna Harris, a junior from Louise McGahee. Pamela Lee, she's a senior from Calvary Baptist. Senior Ainsley Matlock, that would be daughter of Coach Matlock at Loyola Prep. Junior Grace Shepard from Loyola Prep. Senior Avery Summerhour from Isidore Newman. Sophomore Annalie Turner from Loyola Prep. And last but not least, Sophie Vines from Catholic of New Iberia.
And I will take the offensive MVP because you said the defensive MVP's name, and I was slabbergasted. It was amazing. I wish I had the New Orleans ability or the Louisiana ability to pronounce that. But our offensive MVP is from Isidore Newman, Junior Lily Arjmand.
That's right. And our defensive MVP is senior Claire Chapanche from Isidore Newman.
I would have said like Carpenter or Charpentier.
Well, I can tell you my experience from being around here. There's a lot of Chapanches, especially in the Turlings area.
Chapanche, I'll say that.
The famous Turlings legendary football coach was last name Chapanche, and his son who coaches. So that's probably a little cheat code that I knew how to pronounce that name.
I was impressed.
Right. So that takes us now to our coach of the year, right?
Yep, Coach of the Year. I don't know if you can guess it, but it might come from the state champion. Why don't you let us know?
Let's see, Doug Freeze.
Doug Freeze.
That would be Doug Freeze from Isidore Newman. Congratulations, Doug, on another tremendous year for you and the Greenies. In the middle of a little destiny, right? A little destiny.
Dynasty of Destiny. Destiny
of Dynasty.
Yes.
So anyway, that takes us to our Division 3 now. Division 3 girls, and we start off with the quarterfinals as usual.
Yes, sir. We had Parkview Baptist hosting, as the number 1 seed, hosting Acadiana Renaissance Charter, able to come away victorious 7-0 there, Parkview Baptist. We have St. Louis Catholic, the 5 seed, against Academy of Sacred Heart from New Orleans. The Academy of the Sacred Heart wins 2-1. The bottom side of the bracket, we have University Lab, number 3 seed, hosting Vanderbilt Catholic, 1-0 victory for University Lab. And then we have the last quarterfinal, number 7 seed, Edie White, losing out on a close one to Archbishop Hannon, 5-4, as Hannon advances to the semifinal. Who do we have in the semifinal?
Our first semifinal matchup, our top seed Parkview Baptist was hosting the Academy of Sacred Heart out of New Orleans, and they pulled off the close one there, 2-1 over the 4 seed. So that was Coach Raffi taking them to the finals again, hoping for a 3rd straight title there at Strawberry Stadium. And our other semifinal to see who they would play, the U, coached by Miss Melissa Ramsey, pulling off slight upset over the 2 seed Archbishop Hannon, 3-2.
Yes,
so
sir.
that led to our final there in Strawberry Stadium, Parkview Baptist and University Lab.
Yep, Parkview Baptist, a rematch from earlier in the year where ULab was able to sneak out a victory 1-0. But in the state final here, Parkview Baptist gets the victory 2-0 to bring home their third state championship in a row, according to Chad.
Oh, Jeremy, that's just it's great stuff there from Coach Raffi. Loaded with talent on that team. Loaded with talent. Another good job by him, and it's always fun to see his little run around and his little crowd do woo, woo. How do they say it, Jeremy?
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, so we will be playing that in B-roll whenever we come back.
We will be playing
I
that.
do have it. But Coach Raffi with another, big performance in a final game.
Yes, sir. Now we move on to the All-State reveal, as, again, we know that's what everybody would like to see. D3 girls second team. We have junior Caroline Avery from St. Louis Catholic. Next up, we have senior Sydney Becker from Vanderbilt Catholic. Junior Aubrey Hopton from Acadiana Renaissance. Junior Sally Irwin from Academy of the Sacred Heart New Orleans. Junior Presley LeCount from Vanderbilt Catholic. I don't really know how to say that, but that's how I would say LeCompte, but that's not right. So LeCount, I think I got right. Sophomore Farah Lytel from Archbishop Hannon. Junior Sophia Mitchell from University Lab. Junior Kylie Poussin from St. Louis Catholic. And senior Taylor Robert from Academy of the Sacred Heart, New Orleans. Chad is not having any issues with his computer at all.
Jeremy. I cannot find it
but now
again.
The first team
but
is right
thank
in
you.
front of
This is why we are such a good
tag team.
That's right. So, continuing on, Jeremy, the D3 girls first team All-State. That would be sophomore Sarah Oquan from E.D. White. Sophomore Skylar Baptiste from the Academy of Sacred Heart of New Orleans. Freshman Ainsley Bernhard from Parkview Baptist. Junior Caitlin Brady from Archbishop Hannon. Junior Ellie Habits from the Academy of Sacred Heart in New Orleans. Sophomore Ella Kate Johnston from Parkview Baptist. Senior Riley Methvin from E.D. White. Freshman Savannah Mitchell, University Lab. Senior Sarah Ortlieb from Parkview Baptist. Senior Karis Phillip from Parkview Baptist. Senior Jayla Renter from University Lab. 8th grader Campbell Smith, and that is first team All-State as an 8th grader from the Academy of Sacred Heart New Orleans, Campbell Smith. The number thing like you. Senior Macy Terrio from Parkview Baptist, and senior Cameron Watson from St. Michael the Archangel. That gives us our most valuable players, Jeremy. Start off with our defensive.
Our defense MVP, 9th grader from Parkview Baptist, Ainsley Bernhard.
And also from Parkview Baptist, our offensive MVP is Ella Kate Johnston.
Really seems like Parkview Baptist has the cheat code.
They do have the cheat code, right?
As the MVPs, look like they're going to bring a lot back for next year.
That's right. There's a lot of youth right here on this team compared to some of the others, with some freshmen and 8th graders and sophomores on this team. So the future looks pretty bright for Division III girls. Our coach of the year, Jeremy.
Coach of the year this year for Division III girls was Academy of the Sacred Heart New Orleans. We had Michael Plaisance, who had very close games, were some of the toughest competition in the state. I think from Division I down to Division III. I think you don't like to celebrate your near wins. Or I didn't lose by that much, but I think a tip of the cap to Mr. Plaisance this year from having a stellar performance all year long.
Right, it was good stuff from the academy. So next up. What do we have?
After 3, it goes 4, then 4, 3, 2.
Division II, right? So our Division II playoffs for girls, and my microphone was a little bit away from me for a second, but Division II girls.
We heard you, I promise.
St. Thomas More, the dynasty, right? Yep. 7 straight, going for number 8. Starts off their quarterfinal run against number 9 Prairieville, 5-0 victory. They're moving on. On the other quarterfinal to see who would face the mighty Cougars of St. Thomas More. We had Central Lafourche facing off with Lakeshore, and Central Lafourche, number 5, pulls it off over number 4, Lakeshore, by no score listed there.
It must have been a PK result.
Might have been, and I'm not familiar with it offhand. I just know that Lakeshore had upset for the district title St. Scholastica earlier, but then they were kind of slightly upset right there by Central Lafourche. Great job by Central Lafourche over the last few years building that program up, right? Since that finals appearance back in 2018, I believe it was, and ever since then they've been looking really good. Division II looks good on them too, by the way. Division going down to the bottom of the bracket, Turlings Catholic, number 3. They defeated number 6, Ben Franklin, at Turlings Catholic to move on to the semis. And last but not least in the quarterfinals, number 7, Lutcher, loses 5-0 to St. Scholastica.
Yeah, I think Lutcher made a nice appearance this year. They haven't made much noise on the girls' side, but they had some solid wins this year.
That's Coach Patrick McCarroll, I believe. He does a really good job over there.
I think way to pull out that name. If it's correct, I'm impressed. All right, now we move on to the semifinals. On the bottom of the bracket, we have Turlings Catholic traveling to St. Scholastica. Again, I think a new dynasty, or last year's Division I winner coming down to Division II. Just too much to handle for Turlings Catholic. St. Scholastica wins 4-1. Top side of the bracket, St. Thomas More again rolls through the semifinal 4-0 versus Central Lafourche. And facing off in the final, we had St. Scholastica versus St. Thomas More.
Would the dynasty come to an end? Would the dynasty come to an end? And the answer is yes. St. Thomas More does lose finally in the state championship after 7 straight. St. Scholastica goes back-to-back, Division I to Division II, maybe for the first time, I would say ever. I don't know if that's ever happened.
Probably ever. And I don't know. Right. I mean, maybe your dynasty ends when you lose in the state final, but again, it also
is it the end of a dynasty?
It's a different dynasty. Right. You made 8 in a row.
You made 8
so
in a row.
So that dynasty still
9 in a row because they did lose one right before the 7th.
Oh, did they?
So they've made 9 in a row.
So 9 in a row.
Right.
The dynasty's still alive and well.
Right. Congratulations on a great year to STM. A great dynasty. St. Scholastica, amazing dynasty. That takes us to our All-State team, which is why we're here, right? We keep saying why we're here. That's why we're here. We'll start off with the Division I girls, second team All-State.
We're going to do Division II just because we're in Division II.
But we are in Division II.
Yeah, so we'll do Division II
Again,
first.
look at this.
I will do it. Your computer issue. It's not a computer issue. I will take our second team. Division II girls All-State second team. Leading off, we have junior Gabby Cortizas from the Willow School. We have senior Tatum Duncan from Ben Franklin. Another senior Valeria Gabri from Kenner Discovery. Another senior Ariana Lowenstein from Turlings Catholic. Senior Carly Perrin from St. Scholastica. Another St. Scholastica senior Brianna Taylor. And last but not least, we have Melanie Wyndham from North DeSoto to round out our D2 girls Division II All-State. Congratulations, ladies.
North DeSoto's a little team on the rise right there in Division II. It's good to see that coming on. Coach Morgan Ursoff was a coach on the All-Star team this year, so there's bright things in the future for girls soccer at North DeSoto, I believe. First team All-State right here for Division II. That's what we've been waiting on, right? Junior, Sydney Babineau, St. Thomas More. Another junior, Isabella Baltoff. Is that a name? Is that a family that we all know, right? Caddo Magnet. Yep. Hello, Roddy. A sophomore, Grace Barker from Central Lafourche. A senior, Lainey Benoit from Turlings Catholic. She's had quite the career down there. Chloe Bunton from Ben Franklin. Aubrey Cassidy, last year's state finals most valuable player. She makes the All-State team again as a senior for St. Thomas More. Libba Daniel from St. Scholastica, a junior. Olivia Gautreau from Turlings Catholic is a senior. And Kate Gilry, that's a name we're all familiar with from St. Thomas More. She's a senior. Senior Kiara Herman from Lutcher. Senior Jesse, you did this to me again. Kurgosian. That one's actually not as hard as it looks at first.
That's my last name.
St. Scholastica. Kaylee Paraloo from St. Scholastica. Ella Schroeder from Lakeshore. And, is this right?
Yep.
An 8th grader on the Division II girls first team, Caroline Todd, St. Scholastica, who also had a heck of a finals.
Oh, she had a great finals. I think she was the MVP of the finals there as an 8th grader.
That would be correct, Jeremy.
I pay attention. So we have our All-State Division II girls first team. Now we have the offensive MVP, senior Kate Guillory from St. Thomas More. Again, another epic career right there for the Cougar. And last but not least, the defensive MVP,
senior Jessie Kurgosian. The name I had a little trouble with earlier. She's our defensive MVP from St. Scholastica.
And then for the coach of the year, Division II Girls 2025, we have Mr. Glenn Benjamin. We know him as Benji, but Glenn Benjamin from St. Scholastica. Congratulations, Benji. And again, to all the ladies that made All-State this year for Division II Girls. Up next, we have our Division I girls. Because again, 4-3-2-1.
4-3-2-1, Jeremy.
Blast
and
off.
We are back here. Our Division One girls. If you just give me 1 second, here we go in our quarterfinals. We started off with number 1 St. Joseph's Academy. Number 1 takes the victory over number 9 Fontainebleau, 3-0. Our next quarterfinal, Mount Carmel. The Mount Carmel defeats North Shore, who sneaks into the quarterfinals as a 12 seed by the score of 1-0. And our next one, number 3 Benton. They host and lose to number 6 Lafayette by the score of 0-2. And finally, number 10 Mandeville, coached by our good friend Sean Esker. They got into the quarterfinals as a 10 seed after pulling off the Denham Springs upset, and they fall just short to C.E. Bird and Coach Lisa Leverman by the score of 1-0. Really good game right there, and that led us to our semifinal matchups, Jeremy.
Yep, Lisa Leverman, C.E. Bird traveled down. No, they didn't. They hosted Lafayette, coached by John Carrier, and C.E. Bird comes out victorious 1-0 to punch their ticket to Southeastern in the state final. And then we have the other side of the bracket, St. Joseph's, the number 1 seed, falls to Mount Carmel 2-1 on a nail biter for Mount Carmel to advance. Carmel. I don't know. I'm not very good with that one. To advance to the state final. And in the state final, we have Mount Carmel and C.E. Bird. What
That's
happened
right.
there, Chad?
Coach Lisa Leverman at C.E. Bird and Coach Alexi Petru at Mount Carmel. Great game. Mount Carmel comes out on top by the score of 2-0. Another great performance by C.E. Bird as their second straight runner-up in Division One. Great stuff by Coach Lisa Leverman. But Alexi Petru continuing the legacy of his father, Pavlos, and winning another state championship right there at Mount Carmel.
Yep, the Cubs with cleats. I like their Instagram
That's
name is
right.
Cubs with cleats. Pulls off the nice little upset in the state final, 2-0. Another state championship to a New Orleans-based school.
Right.
And now we got
Now, Jeremy, a while ago I was trying to race to this Division One second team, and it was a little early. So here we go right now. Division One girls second team All State, and it's funny. Like when I get the second teams, we've got a whole bunch of names, but your 2 second teams had like 5-6 names.
not saying it was a plan, but
Right. So here we go. Senior Anna Alamo from St. Joseph's Academy. A senior Amber Broussard from Lafayette High School. Senior Taylor Carty from East Ascension. Casey Corrales from Mandeville. She's also a senior. Ella Grace Davis from Captain Shreve, a senior. Sophomore Erin Flowers from Benton. Senior Riley Foltz from Hanville. A senior Audrey Galindo from East Ascension. A senior Aubrey Johnson from North Shore. Senior Alex Knight from Captain Shreve. Senior Noella Lagos from Live Oak. Senior Avery Papania from St. Joseph's Academy. Senior Kayla Rohrback from C.E. Bird. Senior Aaliyah Sanchez from West Monroe. Ooh, and it just changed on me there, Jeremy. That is a junior, Kaylee Trahat
perfect.
from North Shore, and a senior, Alyssa Wilson from St. Joseph's Academy. That wraps up the Division One girls second team All State. Now for Division One.
Division One girls first team All State. Leading us off, we have a senior from Mandeville, Claire Ertker. Another senior from C.E. Bird, Myjoy Anderson. Another senior from Lafayette, Brea Bailey. Dutchtown senior, Cameron Bonadonna. Another senior from St. Joseph's Academy, Gracie Davis. Hanville senior, Ashlyn DeSoto. Up next, we have Mount Carmel junior, Stella Junius. Another junior, Ivy May from St. Joseph's Academy. Dutchtown keeper, Elizabeth Meisner, who's a senior. We have Mount Carmel junior, Josie Randall. Senior from St. Joseph's Academy, Angelina Risponi. Mount Carmel senior, Addie Sheely. Barb senior, Eddie Stickle. Senamont senior, Mallory Sutton. St. Joseph's Academy sophomore, Camille Toussaint. And sophomore from Dominican, Stella Zippert. Rounds out our Division I girls All-State first team. For our defensive MVP from Dutchtown.
She's one of my favorites, man. I interviewed her a bunch of times. That is the Lizard. That is Elizabeth Meisner from Dutchtown. What a goalkeeper. She plays for BVB also. Congratulations, Miss Meisner, on that.
It's actually LA Force now.
I
I
know. I'm a creature of habit. I got to spend some time with them last year on their run, and it was such a fun time to hang out with those girls. And I got to see most of them at the state championships. It's amazing how well representative that team is on these state championship games. But again, the Lizard, defensive MVP.
And then for offensive MVP from the state champion Mount Carmel, we have junior Stella Junius. And then for the coach of the year for the Division I girls,
taking on just like his father, Alexi Petru, another coach of the year for him. So congratulations, Alexi, well deserved.
And I mean, really, that kind of rounds us out. The only thing we don't have yet is a name for some sort of show if we're going to continue to talk about this, because we have new referee abuse policies.
That's right. We've got a lot of stuff to discuss.
We have stuff that we can talk about.
We've got the older kids state championships scheduled for this weekend, weather permitting. But any week now, we're going to have our U19, U18 state champions named in LSA for club, and our state cup season's coming up, which is right around the corner from our regionals and state and national championship series. It is busy, Jeremy, and you've got some ODP stuff on the horizon, right?
Yeah, we have ODP, we have mini camp tomorrow, maybe weather permitting again. Then we got combine in Tennessee, region camp in North Carolina, and then we have Joanne, our recent hire as a sporting director.
For those who don't know, tell them that, Jeremy.
Yeah, Joanne Oliva has taken over as sporting director for Louisiana Soccer, and so he'll be, in addition to other things, running our ODP program moving forward. So I'm kind of ending my era, ready for a nice new technical leader to step in and really take us to the next level. So really excited for that coming forward.
And look, hopefully in the future, and hopefully very soon, you'll be seeing us a lot more often, at least twice a month. We're hoping to start off with maybe weekly by the summer, or by next fall. We want to be weekly, I would think, and eventually live if we can. And
I mean, we've done an amazing job right now, so we might as well just go live.
Right. So we've been dabbling in this over the last few years, and I think now's the time. Louisiana Soccer Channel is going to take the next step in that creation. We said Paul Baran with his incredible little series of interviews with some of the talent around the state. We plan on doing more features and have more fun stuff. Maybe some golf cart confessional type stuff and soccer tournaments and stuff.
We have some video we need to do. I think so. Having Paul Baran on is a no-brainer. As one of our, we need a third person, a third wheel,
right,
all the time, I think. Right. But maybe you guys should, after you hit the subscribe button, I don't know where it is now,
right? Yeah.
But you should comment about who should maybe be our host instead of us, or instead of me at least.
Right. No, I think you do well. You do. You bring the comic relief and the knowledge to us. I think we're just fine. I think we need a name for this show. Two idiots about soccer or something like that. Two idiots talking soccer. Whatever. Come up with a name. Send us a few ideas. We'll have something for you though by the next time. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think we will. I mean, we have an actual street lamp.
We have two lamps. We have another lamp right here. Maybe we can be between two lamps.
There's no reality outside of what's in front of us.
That's right. That's right.
Nobody knows about what's around. This is completely natural to have a street lamp in your studio. So I don't know. I'm really excited about raccoons being in front of us.
Right.
Soccer is the topic. Raccoons is the mascot.
That's right.
The name's coming to me. I'm waiting for it. Mm-hmm. It hasn't come yet. So maybe next time.
We'll get it, though. We'll get it next time. Listen, it was great. This is fun. Hopefully we boosted our subscribers, got a little watch time on this.
Hit the subscribe button for chat.
The more you subscribe and the more you watch, the more we will provide. I can promise you that.
And the brighter shirts Chad will have.
I will wear the brightest shirt. I will wear my yellow one next time.
Yeah. Guys,
my Volt color
Volt shirt.
That's right.
I think again we're trying to come up with incentives, and that's the best we came up with. So congratulations.
Well, listen, Jeremy, it's been fun. Listen, hopefully we get to do a whole lot more of this.
When are we going to post the All-State graphics? Are we going to
Because after this, right after we post this, we will have the graphics up on social media. We will also be advertising this on social media for the next couple of days. As well, another thing I need to say, we'll be advertising our all-star photos. We have our all-star photos from Ricky. Ricky Obey has a great photographer, by the way. He's our LSA photographer as well. Took some great photos. If you haven't seen it, we'll post those links. Go support anybody that supports Louisiana soccer, people.
For sure.
Ricky's a good one. He's got some photos up there. If you like them, go buy them. They're great photos. Jeremy, it's been fun. Maybe back in 2 weeks.
Cheers.
All right, we got Rogelio, our intern in the back. Rogelio,
great
Cardenas, also known as the Hulk.
The Hulk.
The Hulk.
We don't have nicknames yet.
That's right. So congratulations, Rogelio. You just produced your first show as an intern.
We'll see if it ever sees the light of day.
All right. So anyway, that's me. That's all I've got. Jeremy, you got anything else?
Nope.
Jeremy, it's been great. Listen, people. Stay tuned. Hopefully we'll see you in a couple weeks right back here on the Nameless Show with two idiots talking soccer.
Peace.